Hi guys, welcome to Relatable Stories series. If it's your first time here, welcome, welcome, welcome. If it is your second story that you're listening to, or third, or whatever number it is you've listened to others, I really, really appreciate you and thank you for coming back to listen into the stories. So, what we do here, if you're new, I tell you stories or occurrences in my life, and then we relate it with a story in the Bible, and then we get to pick a lesson or two, and then we just vibes, just vibes and learning. So yeah, so this one is very interesting, juicy one, I know. So of late, I've been having people asking me, Emily, when are you getting married? Emily, are you seeing someone? Emily, yeah, you get the tune of the music. It's going. And I'm like, yeah, relax, relax. And you know it's serious when even your parent now mentions it. And when I say parent, not even the mother it's okay. But when it comes from your father, and especially a kissy father, if you come from Kenya and you know kissy man. Anyway, so there's this one time I called my dad, giving him some good news. And then after I've mentioned it, and he's like, yeah, so next I'm waiting for you to bring me an in-law. And I'm like, relax, we were not talking about that. We were talking about something else. And I was like, okay, we'll just talk later. Bye. That was the besides the time I was coming to Poland when my dad was telling me, oh, when you go, be careful of, I'm not going to say the country, but anyway, be careful of people from this and this country. Just get a good guy and all that. That was the first time my dad ever mentioned about like relationships indirectly. And then now the second time is this year when he's telling me, oh, now actually like 2 months back, we're in October, so sometime in August, yes, 2 months back. Yeah, he's mentioning that, and I'm like, no, not you telling me that. But anyway. So I've been trying to lighten up the question when someone asks me that, and I'm like, do you have a friend who's single? Like just to joke around over it. And then they'll be like, yeah, I have several friends who are single and they are searching and whatnot. Then I'm like, okay, are they this and this and this and this? And then they're like, that's number one, they're not. So if someone is not number one, even if they're in your every other thing, if in your list the number one thing they're not. So I mean, yeah. And I know you sit there and you're telling yourself, hi, Emily, don't be so choosy. You know, you might miss someone and whatnot. No, I'm not operating from a point of fear, by the way. We're operating from a point of faith. And you don't just settle for anything and anyone. And I'm not discrediting anyone out here. Everyone has their own cup of tea. I am not. I might not even be not I might. I do not tick the boxes for some people and I tick for some people, which is totally okay. You cannot be perfect for everyone. Same thing when I'm considering someone. So now we begin the story. After my last breakup, yeah, when I say that, I'm like, anyway, after the last breakup, I decided intentionally I want to be single for a year to get to know me better, to get to what does Emily want, what does she like, what makes her happy, what makes her sad, what does she stand for, you know. And I decided, you know what, I'm just going to take a year off. That is because in the two relationships, okay, so in the last one and the one before the last one, I moved from the previous one to the last one, like almost, yeah, let me say seamlessly. So like there was no gap in between. And so I told myself no. And again, I started dating while in campus, so pretty early. So I'm like, you need to sit yourself down and get to know and understand yourself first before you even want to get someone else who will understand you. And deal with your baggages also. Because yeah. So I did that and installed Instagram, and installed my Kenyan WhatsApp, and then I just remained with my Polish number active, and that only had my family contacts and one or two friends. But later on, I added some few friends into that contact list. Yes, but mostly it was a friend in Kenya, lady friend in Kenya, a friend in she's now in Australia. Hi. Yeah, and what? the people here, my classmates, now a few church mates that had my contact by then. By last year, no, it wasn't that many actually. So yeah, but there was this one friend who had come from Kenya and is a very good friend to one of my previous classmates and had been given my IG handle. So before I installed Instagram, we had like he had reached out and we talked, and then I feel like, oh my God. Okay, no, I'm not spilling a lot, but anyway. So yeah, we had talked and he had just come to Poland, no, to Warsaw, because he does not live in the capital. So he had just come to Warsaw the day before the breakup. And so we had talked and all that. And I had that feeling that that breakup is coming because the way things were just aligning. Yeah. So he comes, we talk about it, and he tells me, oh, by the way, this and 1 + 1 is equals to 2. And then yeah, that's it. He went. And again, we were not like that close. So we would talk once in a while. Yeah. So he knew when the breakup happened because obviously I was like, oh yeah, confirmed. Yeah, it has happened and whatnot. And to give him his flowers while he's still alive. Yeah, speaking of flowers, he came in, or he encouraged me at a time when I needed someone to talk to, honestly. But then again, I had told myself I don't want to keep, especially people from the opposite gender, around too much. So even with him, we just talk like once a month or in 2 months, yeah. But then there's so after 8 months, 8 months after the breakup, it's around June, just before my birthday, I decided, you know what, let me install back the apps like Instagram, and let me WhatsApp. I was no, it will wait until end of the year because I was not just ready to be in a space where we have mutual. I don't say mutual friends with my ex. I don't have a problem with them. The friends, that is okay with even with him, I don't have a problem with him. Just that I didn't want to be in a space with constant reminders that, yeah, and also to deal with questions and anything. So I'm sorry to anyone that felt cut off, but that was my way of dealing with it, and I really needed that time off. And so yeah, this guy, randomly one evening we have the call. Remember, we talk once in a while. So it's a Friday evening. This time round, it's not even a message. We have a call. So we get on a call and we talk for, I think, an hour or so. And we just vibe, everything flows and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, could be, not bad. Anyway, and so I realize what is happening. And I tell myself, Emily, you need to be careful. Yeah, we say the whole year, remember? And so yeah, I said it's Friday night. So we've talked and then I went to sleep. And then I prayed. I told God, I think I'm getting attached or attracted to this person. But I want to do it with you. I want to do it your way. And so like, if he's not the one, that prayer that is answered immediately. Yes. I prayed that prayer. I'm like, God, if he's not the one, I don't want another 2-3 years and then later on I realize, just tell me. Just tell me. If he's not the one, just show me before. And then yeah, I sleep. The next day I wake up, I go to church. I come back in the evening. He texts me. We don't usually text like a day. I told you we talk like once in forever. So he texts me, hi, how are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm fine and whatnot. And I'm like, I see the message that comes in and I'm like, oh God. So the message that comes in, just to not put you in suspense, is, I hope I am not leading you on, because there is someone else I'm trying to consider. And I'm like, what do you mean? So in my heart, I was feeling, ouch. I really, yeah, generally speaking, I know he might see this video, but he's a good guy. He's a good friend, and he ticks most of the boxes besides some, but anyway. And I'll leave that for that. Anyway, so I feel bad, obviously. I feel bad about it, but I tell him it's okay. And then I go back to God and I tell God, I didn't expect you to answer me this soon. And I don't know why this feels, but thank you. Because I know what it feels like to invest years in relationships, and then it just goes down the drain. And I had come from that space, and I didn't want that ever. I don't want that ever again. And so if you're coming to me asking me, Emily, when? God's time. Anyway. So yeah, I tell God, thank you. Thank you for answering the prayer, because he comes and tells me point blank, you know what, I'm trying to consider someone else, so I hope I'm not leading you on. And I was like, we're cool, and what's that? Yeah. So, to the Bible. Is there someone in the Bible who prayed a similar prayer? Not really, that show me if this is the... Okay, yeah, actually the same prayer. And we'll look in the book of Genesis. I think it's chapter 24. Let me just grab my Bible. And yeah, Genesis chapter 24. Abraham sends his senior servant to go look for a wife for Isaac. And the servant goes by the well. He travels and goes where he's sent to the land where Abraham had come from. And then he goes to close to a spring, and he tells God, he prays and tells him, I want to ask for water from one of the daughters of the town, because it was evening and they were coming to fetch water. I don't know if you've ever gone to fetch water in a river. Okay, this is a well, but if you have, I have once or twice in my rural area. And imagine, I want to say it even in Kisii, but anyway, imagine you from the river and then you're climbing that small hill with a jerrycan of water, and then you meet someone and they're like, could you give me the water to drink? And you're like, okay, maybe I would have been disqualified. I don't know. But anyway. So, yeah, he prays the prayer of, I'm going to ask one of the ladies, the daughters of the town, to give me water to drink. And if this person says, I will give you to drink, and I will also fetch water for the camels, then let it be the one. Specifically that, please let, it says, may it be that when I say to a young woman, please let down your jar that I may have a drink, and she says, drink, and I'll water your camels too. Like, I'll give you to drink, and then I'll go back and fetch for your camels, and they'll drink. And I'm like, that's a hardworking woman, dear God. But anyway, the point of the story is not even what she did, but it's him, the servant, praying and having faith that God would answer exactly that way. And you know what? That happens. Exactly as he prayed, that happens. And long story short, Rebecca is taken and becomes the wife of Isaac. And so I know you were there telling me, Emily, that is in the beginning of time, that is Abraham's days and whatnot. Imagine even now. And I have friends that I've spoken to, or even people that I've seen online. There are two ladies specifically. I've listened to their videos. I think I'll try and link them in the description box, of how they prayed for their husbands. And they gave exact... There's one who said how they want the sunset to look on that day, on their first date. And that happened. There's someone who said how specific... Let me see, what did she say specific? She was... I don't want to spoil it for you guys, because I'll link it in the description. But the specificity of which she said how she's meeting the person and how it's answered, I believe still happens to this day. It is not just in Abraham's days. So be specific in your prayers. I know we pray to God for every other thing and we trust him to come through for us. Why not this one? Why would we just go and choose anyone for ourselves just because we can? And I know you were there looking at me like, are you serious? Yes, I'm serious. Yes, I'm serious. We are speaking of specific prayers, and be specific also when it comes to spouses. And if you're already in that relationship, you can also ask if it's God's will. And that's the story for another time, I'll tell you. But yeah, I don't want to tell you examples of other people in the past it's almost 2 years. Wait, yeah, in November it will be 2 years single. Okay, yeah. So I will not tell of other stories, but just know there are other people that come in and we still do the same prayer, because, again, if there's anything that I am not doing without God, it is dating. I'd rather anything else, which I would not, but this is a journey. You know, once bitten, twice shy. if it's not starting with God, then it's not starting, and I'm okay with that. So if you're coming with your questions, I would say, you know what, just pray. Pray that God answers me specifically for what I've asked for. Actually, yesterday I was hosting two friends who just got engaged the day before. And like I was just looking at them and thinking to myself and telling God, I see you writing this story. I see you in their lives, and I would want something not same to theirs, obviously, but something that has God in it. And I just wrote down my list. I usually have my list in my head, but this time around I sat down after they left. I know they'll watch this video. After they left, I sat down and I wrote my list. I removed it from my head and I wrote it down on paper. And yeah, obviously it's not happening now, but when it happens, I'll come back and tell you part 2 of this story. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed the story, and go read the story in Genesis chapter 24 of how Rebecca is gotten for Isaac. And again, just trust God that he answers every prayers and he wants the best for us. So be specific. Pray for that spouse. Don't just date anyone. Outside, they could be anything that you desire, but deep down, they could be not. So God sees and he wants the best for you. Okay, so that is it for today, and I'll see you in the next story. I was just excited to speak to you, as you can see, and I hope you get excited to just listen into the stories, and I hope you've learned something. If not, just take home, be specific, and again, date with God, involve God, because hey, marriage is lifelong, you know. It is lifelong. So this is a thing that you wouldn't want to do on your own. Do it with God. He wants to do it with you. Okay, bye. See you next time.